This is the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time there was a miller. He was a foolish man who was always boasting. Then he went too far. The king was riding past the mill with his huntsman one day. The miller's daughter was sitting in the doorway, spinning. The king could not help noticing that she was a very pretty girl, so he began talking to her. Her father came bustling up and began to tell the king what a splendid daughter she was. "Why, your majesty, she can even spin straw into gold," boasted the ridiculous miller. Needless to say, the poor girl could do nothing of the sort, but the king thought that this was an excellent way to refill the palace treasure house, which was rather empty. So he took her back to the palace. He put her in a room with a great pile of straw and told her he wanted to see it all spun into gold the next morning, or else it would be the worse for her. As soon as the door was locked, she began to cry. The task was impossible. Then she heard a thin little voice. "Do stop crying, you'll make the straw all wet, and then we will have no chance of turning it into gold." There in front of her stood a strange little man. He had a tiny round body with long skinny legs and huge feet. His clothes looked as if they had seen better days, and on his head he wore a tall, battered-looking hat. "If you give me your necklace, I will do what the king has asked of you," he snapped. The miller's daughter unclapped her necklace and handed it to the little man. He hid it deep in one of his pockets and sat down by the spinning wheel. The spinning wheel turned in a blur. The pile of straw grew smaller, and the mound of shining gold grew higher. As the first light of day shone in through the window, it was all done. The strange little man disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared. The king was delighted with the great pile of gold, and asked the miller's daughter to marry him. She was too shy to reply, so the king just took her silence as her agreement, and married her anyway that afternoon. For a while all was well, but then the treasure house grew empty again, so once more the poor girl, now the queen, was locked in a room with a pile of straw and a spinning wheel. As the queen wept, once more the strange little man appeared. The queen asked him to help her again, and offered him all the rich jewels she was wearing. But the strange little man was not interested in jewels this time. "You must promise to give me your firstborn child," he whispered. The queen was desperate, but she promised, and the little man sat down at the spinning wheel. A great pile of gold appeared by the side of the spinning wheel, and by dawn the straw had all gone. The king was delighted, and for a while all was well. Then the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby, and she remembered with dread her promise to the strange little man. 7 days after the baby was born, he appeared by the side of the cradle. The queen wept and wept. "There you go again," said the little man crossly. "Always crying. I will do anything but let you have my baby," cried the queen. "Very well then, anything to make you stop crying," said the little man, who by now was dripping wet from all the queen's tears. "If you can guess my name in 3 days, I will let you keep your baby," he said, and disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared. The next morning the little man appeared by the side of the cradle. The queen had sent messengers out far and wide to see if anyone knew the strange little man's name. "Is it Lacy Legs?" she asked. "No." "Is it Wimbleshanks?" "No." "Is it Bandy Knees?" "No." And the little man disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared. The queen sent out even more messengers to the lands far beyond the borders of the kingdom. The second morning the strange little man appeared by the side of the cradle. "Is it Blue Nose?" the queen asked. "No." "Is it Long Tooth?" "No." "Is it Skinny Ribs?" "No." And the little man disappeared with a nasty laugh. The queen waited up all night as her messengers came in one by one, and just as she was giving up all hope of saving her precious baby, in came the very last one. He was utterly exhausted, but he brought the queen the best of news. In a deep, dark forest, he'd found a strange little man dancing round a fire and singing this song. "Today I brew, today I bake, tomorrow I will baby take, the queen will lose the game, a Rumpelstiltskin is my name." The strange little man appeared by the cradle. The queen pretended she still did not know his name. "Is it Ginger Teeth?" she asked. "No," said the little man, and he picked up the baby. "Is it Silverhair?" asked the queen. "No." said the little man, and he started to walk towards the door with a wicked smile. "Is it Rumpelstiltskin?" asked the Queen, and she ran up to the strange little man. "Some witch told you that!" shrieked the little man, as he stomped his foot so hard that he fell through the floor, and was never seen again. The Queen told the King the whole story, and he was so pleased his baby and his Queen were safe that he forgot to be cross with the miller, who had told such a terrible fib in the first place.